Hi, in this video I discuss how recovery from bipolar disorder may still be possible, and the reason is that a genetic link may not actually exist. Many medical professionals believe that bipolar disorder is linked to genetic causes, which would likely be incurable. The problem is that this belief implies that recovery from bipolar disorder is impossible. So there's three important questions that I address in this presentation. The first is, who says that genetic causes for bipolar disorder are believed to exist? The second question I ask is, why is this statement misleading? And the third question I ask is, what is the truth and why is it important? Who says this? Actually, there's quite a few places on the internet and with doctors that will say this claim, and this is a representative one here. And this was found on psychcentral.com. Bipolar disorder tends to run in families, so researchers believe there is a genetic predisposition for the disorder. Scientists are also are exploring the presence of abnormalities on specific genes. In blue, I've highlighted what seems to be very correct. In red, I've outlined what I disagree with. So in my analysis of this statement, you can see that the genetic predisposition can only exist if there is a physical cause. Thus, it is correct that researchers believe this because they do not know this, and I'll explain why. But first, I want to show that at least there's several other sources that say similar things. In webmd.com, I pulled this quote. It says, "Experts do believe that bipolar disorder often runs in families, and there is a genetic component to this mood disorder." That seems like it's a very similar statement to the previous one. The other two, the one from Wikipedia and emedicinehealth.com, are actually quite a bit more restrictive, and you can read why, but essentially they say the same kind of thing about the genetic component or genetic factors. So why is this statement or this type of statement misleading? So we'll take that first statement. Researchers believe there is a genetic predisposition for the disorder. The answer is that this statement offers evidence based on beliefs rather than facts. Now, I'll note, in the future, studies may show genetic causes do exist, but currently there is no evidence for this. So an alternative explanation does exist. At least there are several reasons that I can think of that link bipolar disorder among family members. So one cause could be poor life skills for handling stress may be shared among family members. This could be taught, learned in other ways, and that could be a family thing. Family members often share similar education and cultural background. That could also be a contributor. And family members often have similar friends or lack thereof. Those are just to name a few. There could be several others. The third question that I want to address in this presentation is, what is the truth and why is it important? So back to that previous statement, I offer potentially a better statement, which is bipolar disorder tends to run in families, so researchers are currently investigating the causes. Leading efforts are aimed at finding genetic mechanisms or physical processes. And I think this avoids the problem of relying on beliefs, but it also outlines the current efforts that are being done. It may seem a little bit like wordplay at first, but I'll explain why this is important with the term mechanism. A mechanism is defined as the fundamental or chemical processes involved in or responsible for an action, reaction, or other natural phenomenon. This is from a dictionary definition, and this is where you get the physical process involved in the actual disorder, if it actually exists. So far, no mechanism has been discovered. But just give you a better idea of what a mechanism is, I have an example. In a cold, or like the common cold you have, is clearly an illness. Bipolar disorder is also called an illness. And here, in the common cold, there are physical mechanisms. Those are viral infections. So I'll note that a virus is a mechanism because it would be a small infectious agent that physically causes the illness. So the bottom line is, bipolar disorder has not been attributed to such a mechanism. So how can you check this for yourself? How will you know that what I'm saying here is actually correct? A good place to start your investigation would be with this review article that reviews factors that, quote, exacerbate psychological disability over the course of illness. These factors included in this study are genetics, illness severity, stress, anxiety, and cognitive impairment. Of course, I focus on genetics here, and in that review article, they cite the following article, and in their study, they claimed that the worst depressive episodes in bipolar disorder were significantly moderated by brain-derived neuropathic factor, and this particular polymorphism. I'll note that there was no claim ever made that this polymorphism caused the disorder. So I wanted to find any other articles that are relevant. I found one that claims the exact opposite of that finding shown here. In this study, no association was found between that polymorphism and bipolar disorder. Of course, a more recent study found an association between a similar polymorphism and bipolar disorder. Again, there was no claim that this polymorphism caused bipolar disorder, but again, these are possible mechanisms. They have not been shown to cause bipolar disorder, and until they are, I will not confuse any beliefs, which anybody could form beliefs. If you read the articles yourself, you can see if whether or not you believe it or not. And still, the facts are there's no cause. We don't know for sure how bipolar disorder would be caused by such polymorphisms. There's theories. You can read about them and see what you think. But for now, I know that there is no virus or genetic defects that has been shown to cause bipolar disorder. And remember that genetic causes could be incurable, so I hope that none exist. So I want to conclude by saying that there may still be the possibility of recovery from bipolar disorder because genetic causes have not been found. Reasons why bipolar disorder runs in families are currently unknown, and I hope this presentation gives you more hope of recovery. Good luck.